Welcome back to another episode of Collector's Quest. I'm Tyler, here with Johnny. It's October. What's going on, Johnny?
Hey, Moose, how are you?
Can you stop that? I don't understand that reference.
I know. I like to make it every Halloween until I
didn't even know it's a Halloween reference.
It's not a Halloween reference. I just reference it on Halloween episodes.
Okay.
And, yeah. Hello, Moose.
Johnny, since it is October, as we are recording this on September 23rd, it means we can only talk...
The first day of fall. The first day of fall. Get excited, Tyler.
Oh, is it the first day of fall?
It is the first day of fall.
I don't know how things work. Aren't
a chill is in
the
air.
21st?
It's getting spooky. Come on.
I could already go buy Christmas decorations down at Lowe's.
But that doesn't change anything. Lowe's doesn't dictate what we do.
I'm getting excited. Johnny, we are, so I put out the dolls for Halloween. I've got a bunch of like thrift store dolls. If you guys don't know what to do for Halloween decorations, just like thrift store dolls, because the crap you get at Walmart, that's not like spooky, but weird dolls, there are so many weird dolls at thrift stores. It's like, whoever wanted to collect these weird dolls? They're so spooky. Just throw them around, hang them up on trees, throw them in some bushes. They're great.
Yeah, if you want serial killer vibes, for sure, just like put dolls in front of your house. That's a way to make people go, I like spooky, but this is, no thanks.
Yeah, there's a river by my house, not by my house, but 10 minutes away. It's a place you can go kayaking, and there's a farm that doesn't want people like landing their boats and trespassing. So the way that they keep people out is they put up a bunch of spooky dolls, and there's all like serial killer signs or like keep out. It's basically trying to creep you out so you don't land on their farm. It's really funny.
It's like, our last victim we ate. I mean, don't land here. It's a weird thing to do.
Yeah, no, I approve of it. I like the doll vibe. This year we're going, we're filling up like garbage bags as if they were body bags, like in the shapes of humans. And we're going to have some dolls like carrying them. So I think we're going to have dolls carrying one like on the ground, as if they were like moving it, and then like maybe one hanging from a tree. I don't want to get like kicked out by my hoa. I don't think I can actually like hang a body bag in a noose, but we're gonna try to see
just do it.
What we could do with a full size body.
Just do it. HOAs have no power. They're only real if you believe in them.
They literally have the power to like foreclose on you somehow.
The worst. HOAs are a goddamn nightmare in this country. I cannot believe we've allowed them to exist and given like tiny old women dictatorship over properties that we spend hundreds of thousands of dollars on. I don't fucking think so. What a scam. Get away from HOAs as fast as you can. That's the real fucking scary thing that's going on. You want to be afraid? Read your HOA terms.
I have to replace my mailbox post, Johnny. It's fucking bullshit. I don't want to replace my mailbox post. I've got the nicest mailbox post in the neighborhood.
Why do you have to replace it? It's non-compliant?
I'm the only person with a compliant mailbox post in my entire neighborhood, but they changed what the compliance metrics means. I got the exact shade it's supposed to be painted, and mine is painted that color. I'm the only one. And then because no one did it, they just came up with new guidelines, and now you need an entirely different style of mailbox post.
Do you have the old rules?
John, I'm not fighting the HOA, because they can
You
foreclose
should
on
always fight them. Look, you should always fight them. Look, it is their job. They need you to fight them. They are waiting for you.
It's too much. It's not worth the effort. Complying is less effort, which I realize this is like why people get into like totalitarian dictatorships, because they're like, it's easier just to not fight them and let them take a little more power and a little more power. I realize. Yeah, that's how we're in like the surveillance state that we are with electronics.
Yeah, you're like, I will jump through every hoop in the world to get rid of Gmail and my presence on social media, but talk to that lady who lives down the street. No, thanks. What the hell?
My brother puts in the effort. My brother is on his HOA board. So what he does, my brother literally has like the old lady who goes around, like he has a flower pot in his window that he gets written up for constantly because you're not supposed to have flower pots.
Fuck them.
I know, right? But he joined the HOA board literally just so he could be a person on the board who never enforces anything. So he just is on the board so there's one less person to enforce shit. Which is like, props to my brother. What a cool guy.
Yeah, he is a champion. That guy's out there doing the real work by doing no work.
Exactly.
What a hero. If I'm sorry, like a bunch of our audience is like HOAs. I can't relate to any of that. But Sorry, they're just fucking mini dictatorships that get to push people around. It's the fucking worst.
I haven't got any Halloween complete decorations. I think if I hang like a literal body bag, I will. There was a case nearby where someone hung up bloody body bags in nooses it was like a string from their house.
Because you're in North Carolina?
They kind of got in trouble. They made the news.
It's because you're in North Carolina. Just come to Connecticut with me.
What, Connecticut? How bougie are you? I have one friend who lives in Connecticut, and she is like the bougiest person I know. And it fits what I think of Connecticut. It's
like a non-bougie state, though, really. There's like the super bougie part that's like close to New York, but most of Connecticut is like pretty, like, and as far as economic growth, not great. But it's an interesting state. It's one I would consider.
We got to talk about video games. We can't talk about Connecticut.
No. Let's keep talking. It's the first day of fall and we're doing this, Tyler. I am excited, but this is probably not going to come out till late October because we already did the previous episode. So.
Oh, really? I don't know which one's coming out first. I got to see if we even have that audio. I got to find that audio. It's probably something.
You pick whichever one you want. It doesn't really matter. We got 2 Halloween episodes, but my sister's getting married in October. Things get very busy, so we had to go a little early. But I'm excited. It's the first day of fall. That was that episode we did. That was crazy. We're just like, what is it, 4 a.m? Let's do another episode. That's fine. Just do 2 episodes in a row.
We do a lot of recording for this show, Johnny. I don't know if you people know, but recording a 2-hour podcast takes more than 2 hours.
Yeah,
we have been talking for 3 hours before recording this show. Now we're going to be recording for 2 hours, and I'm going to have to edit for like another 3 hours.
I mean, 2 hours and 30 minutes of talking beforehand. And I know you lament it, but I look forward to hanging out with you, Tyler. So that's not a bad time to me. I'm happy to do it.
It's just a lot of time, Johnny.
It is a lot of time, but it's not. It's a lot of time, but at the same time, Tyler, it's not enough. I could spend hours with you.
I wish we were in person so I could go play Realms of the Haunting with you because I don't even want to be recording this podcast. I want to be playing Realms of the Haunting.
God, I would love to watch you play Realms of the Haunting. That would be divine. Should we jump into it then? Do you want to just start there, Tyler? Do you want to tell
that's a teaser for later, Johnny.
Ooh, okay.
You're going to have to listen to the episode to find out what I'm talking about because I think we have assembled, I don't actually have your full list here. We have assembled perhaps the most representational sample of the 1990s PC horror scene that could possibly be assembled. I think there are people listening to the show who might know 0 of the games we are about to talk about.
Oh, I hope so. Like, look, the more Halloween episodes we do, the weirder I get. So, this is the So You Want to Collect Halloween Games number 6. And, we've never, I don't know if we ever started out on the straight and narrow with these. We weren't like, hey guys, here's Castlevania. And here's also, like, we did a Castlevania episode, but we didn't like just go through the easy early picks like most basic Halloween episodes do. I don't think we ever did one of those.
I think we brought up Haunted House.
I think we have, but we didn't do like the full representation. Like, I think maybe Kat and I touched on that, but like there should literally be an episode where we're like, hey, Halloween. Hey, Luigi's Mansion. Like all that kind of stuff.
We've never talked about Luigi's Mansion. That's so funny.
I mean, yeah, Kat talked about it once, but those don't even count because we barely said anything. Those episodes were like 25 minutes long. And not all of those were about games. Anyways, this is it. We got some weird ones, and we didn't even get all the weird ones I have in here, Tyler. We just didn't have time to do all the weird ones.
Johnny, give me a weird one. Give me a taste of what this entire episode is going to be like, because I think all of our games are like in exactly the same vein.
Okay.
I don't even think we even have a console game on here. So if you are here for NES games, just shut off the episode.
Yep. Sorry. Is there not one console game on here? Damn. Whew. This is the all PC Power Hour. We did it. That's a callback. You can look it up. Hey, Trick or Treat. Tyler, have you heard of this game?
Yeah, I heard of it when Johnny sent me a message and was like, hey, have you ever heard of this game? That's the only time I've heard of it.
And I only heard of it because Josh Byerly was like, you should probably buy this. And I was like, what the hell is this? It's a game called Trick or Treat. So immediately I was in. Unfortunately, the version that he sent me was a sealed one. Here's the really good thing about a game called Trick or Treat. It's really easy to search and find information about because that phrase is never written into Google at all.
This was
Tyler.
based on the movie, of course, right?
Nope.
Also a good movie.
This is a 1994 DOS game, Tyler. It is point and click. That's what it's a.
How coincidental.
Everything.
I'm pretty sure all of our games are 1994 DOS games.
Yeah. Point and click adventure. Hey, so I'm going to tell you, because there's not a lot of collector's information on this game, because I'll just tell you, the game is pretty obscure. It's hard to search for. It was released in multiple regions. There's a couple different box variants for it, but the front looks largely the same. But on the back of the box, it does that thing where it gives you like 5 languages on the back.
I want no game that has 5 languages on the back. Sorry, guys.
I hate that too, but it was like this just doesn't come up. There's also a variant of that box which has different languages on the back. So this is just like how this box is. And the game is called Trick or Treat. You're just not going to find it. And it's like an abandoned PC game. So no one's talking about this game. I'm just going to tell you what it's about.
You didn't tell us what it is.
Okay. I told you it's a point-and-click
adventure game. That's it? It's just spooky? Like, is there a plot?
Yeah, so I'm gonna give you a plot because, like I said, not a lot. On the 31st of October, Halloween, you embark on a new job at the Career Center, but your arrival is marred by the theft of your car by the former care assistant. Inside, you introduce yourself to the elderly residents who promptly enlist your help gathering supplies for their Halloween party. That makes sense, right? You're helping these old people, start their Halloween party. And this is the beginning of your quest, Tyler. Are you excited yet? Are you excited about this game? You're helping the elderly do a Halloween party.
Is this a children's game or is this a real game?
Not really. It's a real game. Little do you know that these seamlessly harmless seniors are actually part of a sinister cult with dark intentions.
Oh, yeah, all right.
They seek to
Why
use
are all these
someone.
Games the same?
Yeah. They're seeking to use someone, and that someone is you. And they want to put you in a gruesome voodoo ritual designed to resurrect their deceased leader.
Johnny, what was going on in the 90s? This, spoilers, this sounds so similar to Gabriel Knight, which is the game I'm about to talk about. It's literally a game about, voodoo rituals and cults.
Yeah. Your goal is to escape. Well, you kind of want to aid them, but also try and escape. And it looks terrible. Tyler, this game, it looks so bad. It looks like, imagine looking like Maniac Mansion, but on the PC in 1994.
I could just be playing Day of the Tentacle then. No, maybe that.
Yep.
Maybe that's a little bit later. I don't know. I could be playing Maniac Mansion at the very least, and that's also a horror game. So yeah, this is and why is it called Trick or Treat? There's no tricking or treating here. It's just also they made the old people the villains, this old person cult in an elderly home. That's crazy. What a crazy notion. And while it has some ties or has some similarities to Gabriel Knight, there definitely aren't sinister seniors. By the way, I wrote this fucking ridiculous statement that you read if you were wondering why it sounded so weird. And I'm reading my own writing and that always sounds strange. Anyways, it says on the back of the box that you are entering a world of mystery and overcoming a chilling tale of black magic. No, you aren't. You aren't doing that. This game is, the reception is pretty bad. It looks kind of rubbishy and, it's expensive, Tyler, if you want it. The one I wanted, there was only one available. That's the thing. There was only one, so it was $200 and I just fucking did it. Cannot believe you paid that for a game no one cares about.
Yeah. But you know why I did it? Because it's a game called Trick or Treat and I can post it on Halloween, Tyler. And look, I'm just going to say it. I have the world's best collection of Halloween spooky horror games. All right. And I have to increase my lead. People are trying to catch me. I'm going to buy all the nonsense. Commodore 64 games, Amstrad, BBC shit. Hey, I'm coming for you.
I'm in. I love it. I love all that stuff. There's so much obscure trash. Johnny, this is the 1950s pre-code horror of video games. Just going for random horror shit from the 80s and 90s that no one's ever heard of. And then you just have them and they have cool names and covers. And that's what the collection is. But that's the same thing as pre-code horror. No one cares about crime suspense stories. They just want the cool cover with worms crawling out of a skull.
Yep, that 100%. That's
Perfect.
what I'm here for, and I'm doing it. Also, though, don't spend $200 on this game. Okay, 100%. This game is going to come up for $10. I mean, mine is sealed, okay, or will be sealed when it arrives. It has not arrived yet, so I'm counting my chickens a little bit. But yeah, there's definitely a game that's going to show up for $10 one day. You're going to put it on a save search. It'll show up for $10 because no one gives a shit about it, and there's no sales history, and you're just going to be able to buy it. Maybe Josh Byerly suckered me. That would be great if he did. If he was the seller and he was just like, Johnny will just pay for this. He didn't.
Well, we're pumping it. I mean, you only bought this so you could pump it on Collector's Quest, so everyone has heard of Trick or Treat now.
Yeah, because I'm sure there's going to be like a clamoring for this 1994 DOS game that no one's heard of now. Finally, my investments will pay off.
I mean, there is something to that. Like, I think you probably overpaid for this, but
100%.
These obscure point-and-click adventure games, like, it's really cool to have a game that has a cool theme, but, like, no one has it. Like, a bunch of people put a bunch of time and money to make this product, this piece of art, and it is just completely gone from the face of the earth. That's something that doesn't really happen as much in console games. Generally, almost any console game is pretty gettable, in a sense.
Yeah, I mean, they're just around. And I like PC games. I don't like the MLQs, like minimum order quantities. Like, they had to be tiny to get PC games off the ground because so many just get abandoned and disappear. Also, the big boxes get trashed and you just get left with jewel cases or discs. Yeah. Anyways, I'm a dummy. Don't do this. But I think it's cool. I think it's pretty cool.
Speaking of Halloween Party, you said this was a Halloween party. I just want to bring up that the Agatha Christie novel Halloween Party, an excellent name for a movie, and it's Halloween with the ween is WE''EN, which is just even better. They made it into the movie A Haunting in Venice, which sounds like the most generic mid-budget horror movie that has ever been made, and it is so disappointing. I'm so mad about the retitling.
You're not. Are you gonna watch it?
I mean, Ada likes the Hercule Poirot stuff. It's okay, so we'll probably.
Yeah, I'm gonna watch it. I will just say, Agatha Christie is no stranger to having her titles redone. If you don't know what that is, look it up. It's fucking grim. Yeah, she had one book that had to be retitled twice
because it was like racist or
racist. What? Yeah, because the title was super racist. 10 Little. Guess the word.
Okay, Agatha Christie. We're canceling you. We're not recommending A Haunting in Venice anymore.
I don't know if she was racist or was writing into the time. So, like, I have not done a deep dive on Agatha Christie. Yeah, but that book was then retitled 10 Little Indians, which then also got retitled because, it was quickly retitled though. It was like retitled like 6 months later or something. Go read your Agatha Christie lore.
Rare books.
Yeah, first print. Like, that's like, there are some books you could just put on your shelf and be like, I'm a book collector. And that one, would be like one of those ones I'm like, maybe not. Maybe I'll just have the second print or third print. Because anyways. Well, that's way off topic. That's not Halloween.
Johnny, I want to stay on the Agatha Christie off topic because I want to complain about Death on the Nile. This is an aspect.
I did not like that movie. Did you like it?
I didn't like it. Whatever. I'm talking about the original book and movie though.
Okay.
So
okay.
Death on the Nile. A couple people get shot on a boat. Whatever. Hercule Poirot goes around for 2 hours and he solves the mystery. And then the very end of the movie. He accuses the people who did it, and they're like, but you can't prove it. And he's like, yeah, but when we get to shore, they'll just do gunshot residue tests on your hands, and that'll prove it. And when he does that, it's like, so what was the point of your entire investigation? Just do the gunshot residue test on everyone on the boat once you get to shore. Hercule Poirot doesn't even need to be here. And no surprise, that got cut from the 2022 movie. All right, I just wanted to bring that up because that pissed me off and kind of ruined the original story for me.
I liked Murder on the Orient Express from that, and I thought that was like entertaining. But yeah, for some reason that one didn't do anything for me. I'm more excited about Haunting in Venice, but we'll see. Also, that book we were talking about that's been retitled is now called "And Then There Were None." If you know, also still a famous title, but yeah.
Johnny,
Tyler.
I'm going to talk about my first game.
Tell me about your game.
I don't remember if it's 1993 or 1994, but it is a 1994 DOS point-and-click adventure game with voodoo cult theme.
Hold on. In 1994, you're talking about a point-and-click adventure that might have something to do with voodoo and cults?
Yeah. Crazy.
Are you reading my notes, or like what's happening?
Gabriel Knight, Sins of the Father, the first Gabriel Knight game, which is a cult classic. I don't really know what to call this game.
I think it used to be. Like, is it anymore?
Yeah, I think it still is a cult classic. I don't think it sold super well at the time, but it's always been kind of beloved by the people. So I don't know if it's like too popular to be a cult classic, is really what I'm trying to say here.
Okay.
Because it's like a Sierra game. It's like a major company. It's got like big money behind this game. Like they were clearly, they had hit their stride when they were making this game. This is a cinematic point-and-click adventure game.
Ooh, upping the ante.
It's a supernatural murder mystery. But the thing about it that gets me is it's got this sort of old, I don't know, I'm going to call it an old point-and-click adventure interface where you have to click individual verbs like, look, ask, talk, use. And there's like too many verbs. So I just said there's an ask verb and a talk verb. So every person you have to ask and talk to. And it's just like, I hate the verb system. I hate point-and-click adventure games that have verbs.
I just want to say, I think I'm going to throw some verbs at you later that you're going to enjoy.
Okay. The big thing with this game, like Tim Curry voices the main character. It's got Mark Hamill. It's got Michael Dorn. Like a pretty substantial voice cast, because for like kind of exciting for a horror game that has like a serious story. It's not like super goofy like Monkey Island. There's a 20th anniversary edition on Steam, by the way. Imagine remastering a beloved cult classic adventure game that has like a star-studded cast and all the voices were redone. You don't get Tim Curry, you get some guy.
You don't get Tim Curry and Mark Hamill.
Like, were Tim Curry and Mark Hamill not gettable? Like, you could pay those guys some money to use their 1990s voices. I have to imagine those are gettable things, but just like, nah, that's hassle.
Well,
completely redo it.
I think Tim Curry was too sick by that point.
Are you making a joke? I don't know what you're talking about.
No, you didn't know Tim Curry got like...
No, I don't want him to redo the voices. I want them to use the 90s voices.
Don't
have them recast it.
I see what you mean. I thought you were saying like get the voice actors to come back and re-record.
Yeah, no.
Okay.
Anyway, I think it's a unique game. It just feels like it's combining the very cinematic, almost like FMV essence of the mid-90s with the very archaic adventure game design of the early 90s. And I don't know, not a lot of games really kind of hit that middle point. So I think it's unique. People love this game. The original release came on a floppy and a regular big box. Really grim, like literally just full box is just a dude that is hung on the cover, like hanged, not hung. Just like the gallows noose, dead guy on the cover. It's crazy. You look at this game and it's like, oh, this game is not for kids. But
sure isn't.
The re-release comes in... It's a polygon box that I can't even describe. It is a trapezoid that's like upside down and slammed on a triangle. It almost looks like the letter Z. But the reason people love this game is there is a huge contingent of PC big box collectors who will just collect anything that doesn't come in a standard box, because people in the mid 90s, like they want, like getting retail shelf space and making your game stand out is what mattered, because people didn't go just order, the new game came out, let me go to Amazon and get it. No, you went to Circuit City, you went to CompUSA, and you browsed the shelves to see what stuck out to you, because there's so many PC games. I just gotta find something cool. So if you see, a game in a box, okay, but then you see, oh, Tomb Raider's in a trapezoid. Well, this one looks a little bit more interesting. And then you see Gabriel Knight in this like 7-sided polygon nonsense, and you're like, well, I'm gonna pick up this game because look at this crazy box. But yeah, PC collectors love the crazy boxes. So one hasn't even sold in a while, so I don't actually know what these go for. I'm going to guess $250 plus, considering the original release is $100. That's a total guess, though. So I don't know.
People are asking so much more for that. They're asking like for the origami box. I think they were asking like $500.
I wrote 250 to 500, but I don't want to like overstate it. Like I don't have one of these, so I'm not hyping it. But yeah, very interesting box. There's actually there's a designer who made a lot of the popular origami style boxes, like these crazy boxes that like fold out and like turn into transformers and like fold up in weird ways. And there's just like this one designer who made like 15 of them. Just a really interesting aspect of packaging design. Like you don't like think about it that much. You're just like, oh, some guy made some weird box, but like someone thought really hard on making these really unique and creative boxes. Yeah, it's a collectible classic. I don't know. I wouldn't spend $250 to $500 on it, but maybe go do it. I don't know.
No, not even me. Yeah, you know what? Like there's listings for a sealed, just regular big box that went for like $750, which I don't understand.
I saw that, but then I saw another sealed one that went for like $200. So I don't know what to say about that. They were both the floppy release. So the original release was a floppy, then it was also re-released in a regular box on CD. No one cares, but I don't know.
Yeah, and then it's a tough game to judge, and there's not. Like a lot of these games, there's not a lot of great information, even though Gabriel Knight was a large and popular game, which had a multitude of sequels.
I think there is great information. I think Sierra Games, like, there's an obsessive group of people.
I mean, like, for prices, like, if you go online, you're just not going to find, like, it's not like looking up a Nintendo game where you're going to see, like, 50 sold.
Yes.
You know, that's what I mean. Anyways, that's Gabriel Knight. Any more you want to say about it?
Nope.
Okay. You want me to go to my next one, or you want to continue?
No, you go to your next one, Johnny. We'll come back.
Okay. Well, Tyler, let me tell you about a game from 1992. This is a text adventure / point and click video game. I don't know if you're familiar with that style of game.
Well, so it's a text adventure and a point and click?
Yeah, it's like text, but also point and click because you get the verbs that you like so much.
Love verbs.
Use, talk, open. But this one has two special verbs, Tyler.
Uh-huh.
Two very special verbs. Kiss and bite.
Oh, it's an adult game. Maybe.
It is kind of. This almost could have made our last episode because there is some nudity in it. Let me tell you what this game is before I go any further. And I'm going to mess this title up because it's, Japanese translated into English. The first one is easy. Dracula Shaku? I don't know. Tyler, it translates into Count Dracula.
Cool.
Guess what?
For what platform is this?
There's two. You can buy it on two very common systems that everyone has around the house. The PC 9801 and the Sharp X 68000.
Oh, wow. Okay. We're getting a real relatable game here. So we can't pronounce it, and it's for systems no one has. All right.
Yeah. It's made by a very popular, they're pretty popular. Fairy Tale / Dark Forces. Those are the same publisher. Do you know who they are? They made Dead of the Brain.
I'm going to say maybe, but no, not off the top of my head.
Okay. Well, anyways, that's what they did. They made Dead of the Brain, and this game is awesome. So I guess it also came out on the FM Towns. So I haven't
so there's
seen
a common version. Yeah. The FM Towns version. You could just go get that one.
Yeah, totally reasonable. It's totally reasonable to go get. Anyways, this is popular if you are into fairy tale games. Like there are people who are dedicated to collecting fairy tale / Dark Forces games. So they have like their own community. They're largely not here in the States, but they exist. Tyler, this is a game you just need to look at because the work is so good. And, unfortunately, this game is just about, it's kind of their take on Bram Stoker's Dracula a little bit. I'll get into, the exact plot, but This is a game, again, you could pay $300 for it. You could pay $500. You're just not going to find it very often. So if this looks interesting to you, this is something you should put on your save search list and buy when you can. It's hard to search for. It's hard to search for on like Yahoo auctions, on Mercari in Japan. It's not an easy to find game because it's got the word Dracula and Count in it. Like, come on. 100 things are called Count Dracula. So you just get, it's a real pain in the ass. It's a real pain in the ass. You can find information on it, about the game in general. You can see screenshots. That's not too bad. But like trying to find one at an auction is kind of a pain in the ass. So look if you dare. I will give you the plot. After 300 years, Count Dracula has risen from his grave. He's returned to his home and he finds his 7 vampire brides are no more. And the world he once terrorized is gone. Well, and he needs to fix it. So setting out on a journey while reminiscing about his lost loves, he finds himself shadowed by a stranger who claims to bear the name Van Helsing, but who in fact may be someone far more dangerous. And the game proceeds. You go through in a point and click way, and you get to do things like kiss and bite. Tyler, do you want to select kiss and bite on things?
I would kiss every character that would be the first thing I do in every character in the game.
I think I would do both. I think my order is kiss then bite. And then I might kiss again after the bite.
I mean, looking at some of the screenshots of this game with the naked anime ladies, because this is an erotic horror adventure, it looks like you would be kissing and biting a bunch of girls, Johnny.
Yeah, he is reminiscing about his brides. He wants to like re-get that action going. It does have, it's like on the level of softcore, not like full genitalia, but you will see boobies and some stuff like that, and dead bodies, and some like pretty gruesome imagery. And the sprite work, especially for 1992, like it looks great. Tell me that doesn't look great.
It looks like every other random Japanese visual novel thing I've ever seen.
Yeah, I think it looks great. I think it looks...
I mean, there are people who like this art style. I associate it with like weird porn games, so I don't know.
See, I just like, and I don't have that association, as we learned in that porn episode. I don't have a lot of porn games in my collective knowledge. So, porn games to me look like, Custer's Revenge.
I mean, that is also an excellent art style.
Yeah. Not yuck. Anyways, go check this game out. If you can find it, I think you're going to pay this is a game that is known by people. The people who are after it are probably paying around $300 for it.
Jesus Christ. How did you fall into this? This is like, I'm talking about like kind of the cult classic normal people stuff. And you're like, by the way, guys, there's this $300 game in Japan. No one's ever heard of it. It says Dracula. Pay $300 for it. I promise there's other people collecting this stuff. Like, you sound like me right now.
Yeah. How did we do a body swap?
I don't know. Johnny, I'm going on to my next game. Because it's just The Beast Within, which is the second Gabriel.
Hold on.
What? Fine.
I just want to explore. I mean, I'm just enjoying the idea of us having like a body swap movie. Where we just change brains. Yeah.
Freaky Friday.
Yep. Are we Freaky Fridaying right now? How awesome is that?
No, I think we just both turned into Tyler because this is the whole all PC game episode. This is so you want to collect PC games.
Tell me about Gabriel Knight 2.
It's The Beast Within. I think it's a Gabriel Knight adventure is the subtitle. Because Gabriel Knight 2, that sounds... the sequels are no good. We don't want that. We just want... This is more like Rogue One, a Star Wars story.
Yeah, I mean, there's like James Bond. There's just multiple movies. We don't need to put a garish number 2 in front of it.
And also, maybe it's not called Gabriel Knight 2 because the main character is totally different, even though it's still Gabriel Knight.
I'm sorry, what now?
So, all right.
So this Gabriel Knight adventure does not involve Gabriel Knight being on an adventure?
It is Gabriel Knight on an adventure, but the first game, it's like an animated, you could think of it like in the Monkey Island kind of sprite work. But The Beast Within is solidly an FMV game, so there is a ton of FMV in this game, but it's also like when you're moving around, you've got kind of the FMV cutouts of people. It kind of looks like Mortal Kombat. But it's like a serious adult FMV adventure game. Like, this game could not exist outside the year 1995. I mean, it's a little bit goofy because it's FMV, but like they set out to make a serious kind of horror adult complex movie here. And it uses like real sets. It's not all like shitty green screens that have been painted in on computers. It's like a movie. But Gabriel Knight, played by Tim Curry, they had Tim fucking Curry, and he was Tim Currying it up in the first game.
How many Tim Curry? There's 2 Tim Currys in a row. Whew.
But they recast him because they're like, Tim Curry doesn't look like Gabriel Knight. We're not going to put him in our like epic, serious, like adult horror adventure game. So they just got some guy. And if you look up who some guy is, they're like, this is some guy from The Beast Within. Because it's basically the only thing he's ever done. And I'm not saying you have to be famous to do a good job in acting, but they had Tim fucking Curry. If they're going to change the entire actor, you know what they could have done instead? They could have changed what Gabriel Knight looked like and made him look more like Tim Curry.
They sure could have. That is really stupid.
Is there anyone out there who doesn't like Tim Curry?
I don't know. And if they do, like, if you dislike Tim Curry, what's wrong with you? Come on. I mean, what a delight. Tim Curry is a delight.
He truly is. So this is, the first game was like about voodoo cults. This is more of a good versus evil, ancient werewolf German story. Like, I don't know, the European werewolf story kind of thing.
Okay.
And I would call the box kind of iconic. I don't know if it's like the face of a werewolf man coming out of a sheet, like a bed sheet, or maybe it's like a stone carving, like a marble carving of a werewolf. I can't really tell which one it is, but I'm going to call it iconic.
I'll accept that.
And no one cares about this game. This game is like $30, big box, complete in box. I think it's great. I don't know. I mean, like, people love it. It's got good reviews. People always comment on like how serious that they took. Like, it's not goofy bullshit like Sega CD games. And like, clearly a lot of money went into this, and it's like just this completely forgotten piece of history. Because it's an FMV game, everyone's like, all right, that's one of those 90s FMV games. Thanks, but no thanks. Let's keep that in the 90s. And you look at like the history of FMV games, and yes, in the early to mid 90s, you've got your sewer sharks and night traps and your wireheads and just like all this super goofy shit. And then you get to the modern day with your PS4 games, and you have new FMV games, but like they're not like serious. Like, they understand like FMV games are a little bit goofy. You've got your like contradiction, Spot the Liar. And I bought like some FMV games from Limited Run Games. And they were horror games, but like they're hamming it up because they know that FMV is stupid.
Yeah.
Even though like people take cinema so seriously. Why does it have to be stupid in a video game just because they're incorporating aspects of cinema? I don't understand why that's a thing. Like, the concept of making a serious FMV game, it's just like not a thing. No one does it. There's, I think, one guy who does it, Sam Barlow, who's the guy who made Her Story, which is one of my favorite indie games of all time. He also made Telling Lies and a couple other FMV games, but he's really trying to push the video game medium with serious FMV games. And I think like some of his games are great, like Her Story, some of his games are less great, but I appreciate that he's taking it seriously, unlike basically every other FMV game. But I think The Beast Within is... it's so weird to call a game serious. It's a fucking video game. It's fun. But it's a snapshot of history, and I think it's something that could only exist in the mid 90s. $30. I think it's a good deal.
That sounds like a pretty good deal to me. And the cover's awesome. Like, you forgot to say the cover's pretty awesome. Though I didn't realize it read more vampire than werewolf to me on the cover. But that might just be my own like vampire leaning nonsense.
I mean, ancient Germany, maybe there's some vampires, Johnny. I don't know.
Maybe. I don't know.
I'm not going to spoil it.
I think Germany lends itself better to werewolves because, like, I think of the dark forest and stuff. I think if I was going to regionalize horror, I'm going to give the Germans werewolves.
All right. Who are you going to give vampires? Romania?
Oh, yeah, 100%. They own that shit. Come on. It would be a crime not to. Tyler, I'm going to go off script for a second.
Oh, again.
And I'm going to throw in a quick game.
Ooh.
Because I think the Tim Curry love is not enough. And finding out how he was slighted, I want to talk to you about Frankenstein Through the Eyes of the Monster. Also, it can be a console game. Did you know that this game exists? Have you ever heard of this?
I probably have never heard of this.
It is a game that is PC, big box. You may not know this, but it's a point and click adventure, and it stars Tim Curry as Dr. Frankenstein. It is available PC big box. It's one of these interplay games that were all over the 90s, but it was also released on the Sega Saturn. So for the PC, it was released in 1995. On the Sega Saturn, it was released in 1997. Cool. Don't you want to be Tim Curry?
This is better than that FM Towns game because people can actually probably buy this.
Yeah. Yes, you can. In fact, do you want to spend $200 on this game for the Sega Saturn? Mind you, it's not in the US. This is a PAL-only exclusive Sega Saturn game. Are you excited now?
I sure don't. I sure don't want to buy it.
It's an exclusive! Except that it's also on a PC. And if you want the PC version, you can spend about, $15.
I mean, for the Tim Curry fans out there.
And Tim Curry, they weren't messing around. They put Tim Curry front and center. He's like in this giant gem on the front of the cover where it's like Tim Curry is prominent on this box, dead center his face. And I don't know if this is a slight, but scientist Philip Warren's daughter, Gabriella, is killed. Sounds like Gabriel. Are they taking shots at Gabriel night?
I don't know.
Probably not. Might be a coincidence, but maybe it's not. It's fun to speculate. Anyways, you can go buy this Tim Curry game for $15 on the PC, or you can get the Saturn exclusive if you are rich for $200.
Johnny, let me just butt in here with a bonus game. The original Rocky Horror Show game for Commodore 64 is pretty collectible. It'll be like $75 or more. But the re-release is like $2. And I'm sure you've seen these because you browse retrogames.co.uk.
Yeah, but, you can buy the cassette version for like $2.
Yeah.
And it's got a great cover.
Yeah. So the expensive one comes in a clamshell case. It just says the Rocky Horror Show on in the blood font. Cool game, Tim Curry game. I mean, it's a Commodore game, so Tim Curry's definitely not in it, but collectible, rare.
Yeah, we just did the Tim Curry show. Whew. Excellent. Right. I'm glad we got I hope this was all the Tim Curry games. I want this to be So You Want to Collect Halloween number 6 / also So You Want to Collect Tim Curry.
Oh man, I bet there's like a Congo PC game that no one's ever heard of. There's a Congo pinball machine. I think you got to include that.
Ooh, yeah. We're going to have to our info may be incomplete. Maybe one day we'll do an After Dark and complete the Tim Curry cycle.
For all the Gen Zs out there, there was a 1990s movie called Congo about like gorillas in Africa. I have no idea what Congo's about. Diamonds. Look it up. It's a great pinball machine. I don't think people care about the movie.
I don't think so. Hey, but it was made by, what's his name? Guy who did Jurassic Park. Written the book.
Michael Crichton.
Thank you.
There you go.
All right. We did. We got Congo information. There's got to be a Congo game. There has to be, right?
I mean, like, the media was so free-flowing in the 90s, and I guess, small games were so cheap to make. Like, you could make a game that just sells, 15,000 copies, and you're like, all right, we'll fire it out there.
Oh, are we stupid? Congo is a game on the Sega Saturn, and...
Congo totally is a video game.
Jesus.
Yes, go get Congo on the Sega Saturn. This is the Tim Curry... This is like After Dark now. We're just going to do the Tim Curry games. Forget Halloween.
Yeah. Okay. Well, tell me... Here's the problem, Tyler. I don't know if this one's too mainstream or not. Tell me if you've heard of this one. I think it's less mainstream than my last game. Horror of Cridwell or Cridewell. You heard of this?
Another game, second game in a row you can't pronounce. Yeah, this is really mainstream.
Well, I would say Cridwell. It's Cridewell, but I could see Cridewell as being the pronunciation. You've never heard of this game? I can't believe you've never heard of this.
Johnny, no, I've never heard of this game.
I mean, that's a little disappointing. You know, it's a little disappointing.
You want me to respond? Because obviously we have discussed things before we started recording the show.
No, yeah. So let me tell you about this game, which is first I'm going to tell you about something else. Tyler, this is a Dojin game.
Okay.
Do you know what that is?
Would you say it's a game developed by hobbyists more for the love of it rather than commercial profit?
I wouldn't, but ChatGPT sure would.
Oh, fantastic.
So, yeah. Tell me if you agree with this. It's like kind of homebrew, but like a little more than that. A little more official than homebrew, but not quite. Like, it's basically homebrew. Yeah, but more specific to Japan. These are self-published. It usually involves games that have like pretty small audiences, but there are people who collect in Japan, specifically Dojin games. A lot of times they get these like self-made games about certain IPs, but this is not tied to any IP specifically. This is more, this more lends itself into Lovecraft mythos. So, this is a Dojin game, and it's called The Horror of Cridewell, and it even has a sequel called The Heart of Sapphalimunum. It sounds like they're trying to say Seraphim. I don't know what this word is, but it's the visual style in the 90s, kind of like the Dracula game we were talking about before. Again, it's point and click. It's a very obscure game, and the reason I wanted to talk about this, not because I'm so interested in the game, but that there are these horror games that just exist outside of the normal realms that people are making. Like we've talked about, like some of the homebrews on NES that you've seen. What's the pinball one, or what's the on NES? The not pinball. The one that was Spookatron. I was trying to think of Spookatron.
Yeah, exactly. I think people who... It's crazy that you're collecting this shit, because this is like such a niche part of collecting anything, would be collecting like Dojin games. Because these are like basically self-made, self-published things. Like one of the most famous ones would be the first Toho Project game, which is a pretty famous series of mostly shooting games. And the first game in that series sold like 20 copies packaged in like hand packaged in baggies, and that's it. So the first game just doesn't exist in physical form.
And that's what these games, they basically don't exist either. So if you're looking for them, like if you see it, buy it if you want it. So you take on the role of a detective in this game. You are investigating mysterious and gruesome murders in the town of Cridewell. The game is set in a dark and eerie environment. Also, some of my pronunciation issue is that Cridewell and Cridewell are spelled different ways depending on which website you're looking on. Some of them include the E and some of them don't. So, anyways, yeah, you explore, you collect items, you solve puzzles. It is mature. So, and it is considered like a well-known, not super well-known, but it has a small cult following around this game. And that's why big enough that it got a sequel. So go check out some video of this game. I don't really recommend anyone else collect this, but I think it's interesting to go look up and see, like if you're thinking about Halloween games, that they just expand beyond FMV point and clicks here in the States and like everything that you've seen on NES. There are pockets of tiny games that were made in the 90s. So this was happening way back when, and you can go see these little bits of history if you like, and then you can try and collect them. But also when people sell these games, Dojin games are usually notable for being cheap, and they probably were at release. But now if you want them, because there's so few of them, you're probably paying upwards of $100. So...
yeah, I mean, I don't think, no offense to your amazing game, something of Cridwell, but no one cares about that. The more interesting thing is Dojin games in general, and the fact that you're collecting these. I don't think I have a single Dojin game. My entire actually, I've got Toho Project games, but this is like, obscure indie bullshit. This is basically the physical equivalent of buying like an Itch.io fan game. in America. That would be like our scene around this was more like people putting like weird Sonic fan games on itch.io, and this is the physical Japanese version of that for like PC 98, MSX, X68000, and then as you get up into the later 90s and 2000s, Windows.
Yeah.
It's a weird scene, and I'm totally not a part of it, so I can't like talk in depth about it. We're going to get some angry messages from Daddy Mulk and Red the Game Shark correcting things we said about this.
Yeah, they're going to correct my pronunciation. Like, I can already feel Red the Game Shark just frowning at me. By the way, if you need import games and you want them cheap, be sure to find cheap games where you can get all of your imports cheap. Yeah, he's going to be super mad, and Daddy Mulk is just like, I know he's just eye-rolling at everything I've just tried to explain. Look, it happened last episode when I tried to explain and say words that are out of my depth. But I think these... Look, it's out of my depth, but I'm reaching, Tyler. I'm reaching because I think these are interesting.
You're growing as a collector, Johnny. You are getting...
I think they're... Yeah,
I don't know how much deeper it is even possible to get.
Look, as the world's greatest collector of Halloween and horror spooky games, it's important to me that I leave no stone unturned.
Okay. All right, perfect. I can't wait to hear about all the erotic horror doujin games you end up picking up.
Will that be an After Dark episode? Perhaps.
So literally just go on Yahoo Auctions and just search for like PC 9801 and you'll find a bunch of doujin games and all of them will be like weird erotic games.
Well, that's not what I want. They have to have... Look, if there's one zombie in it, I'm okay. If there's not like a Dracula, a Frankenstein, a zombie, I'm out.
All right. Do you have anything else to say about your amazing game, Johnny?
No, I
forgot the name of it. Cridwell. We don't even know the name of it.
The horror of Cridwell.
Okay.
Or Cridwell. Just look. I mean, I think it's Cridwell, but I went back and... and it's by the Anaduel Project, if you know what that is.
No one knows what that means.
Oh, well, you should go check it out. Go look at this game. What a treat.
Johnny, I want to take us back to the roots of this episode. I want to take us back
FMV
to
point and click
adventure games that no one has ever heard of or played. But this is one I think I've seen people collect it, and you might know why people collect it. It's called The Twilight Zone from 1988.
Huh.
And had you not just talked about a freaking doujin game that basically doesn't exist on the internet, this is probably the rarest and most obscure game on the list, which is crazy considering the popularity of the Twilight Zone.
It is a little bit crazy. Like, we did research for the movie episode last time, and somehow I missed this. And then this time around, I'm doing further research, and I'm like, wait a minute. The Twilight Zone game? I'm like, the pinball? And then I look and no, there's a game. There's an actual game. Tyler, tell me about this game.
So it came out on DOS and Amiga. So first of all, there's a series of games called the Twilight Zone for like Japanese computers. There's like 4 of them. Nothing to do with that. This is the real Twilight Zone, and it's a text/graphic adventure game. So it plays like an interactive fiction text adventure, meaning it's a huge hassle. You'll be like, press button 1, press button 2. You can't point and click and just do normal things. It's the 80s. We got to cut them some slack here. This game. But like the game doesn't matter. It's got like it's got some pictures of Twilight Zone creepy stuff. Like, all right, it looks fine. It doesn't look great. You look it up on YouTube, the most popular video on this game has 5,000 views. There's no GameFAQs article. There's nothing about this game. I've never seen a video game from like the 80s and 90s that doesn't have a GameFAQs walkthrough about it.
Well, it's crazy. This is the Twilight Zone. This is not some obscure property.
But it's definitely rare. There's no copies on eBay for sale or in sold. I have seen this sell before, and it goes for like $100 to $200 most of the time. It comes up. It's not like the most obscure thing in the world. But this is an example of a game that just will completely be lost to history. No one will ever play this. And part of it is the obscurity, and part of it is the genre. Text adventures, like... People do not put in the work to play text adventures. People will put in the work to check out the history of platformers and be like, Like, yeah, I'll play Donkey Kong. Yeah, I'll play Pitfall. I want to understand the history of platformers. No one cares about the history of text adventures. And if you are going that far back, you're playing Zork or Hitchhiker's Guide to the Galaxy, like these ultra classic video games. So part of the appeal to this is the obscurity, and part of the appeal to this is like owning this piece of history that just no one will ever care about because it's just not important enough to be anything. There's something to that. I mean, there's something sad about that, but I think there's something to that makes it more interesting to collect to me.
So I think it's like there's a weird period here in the 90s, like the early 90s to like getting up to like 1990 to like 1996 is kind of like a dead zone where I think it's not classic enough, but it's not new enough to be documented. So I think things just go into this hole that were like the 90s and kind of disappear. Like there isn't a reason to have the interest that the classic games have, and not like, and because they're not documented, that people just don't stumble upon them. It's a weird thing. I don't know if you feel similar.
I don't know if I feel that way about the 90s, but I do feel that way about PC games. I think there are a lot of important...
Yeah, no, I'm talking about like largely PC games here, like, you know, in the vein we're talking about.
I mean, I think for whatever reason, important PC games, like historically important to genres and things like that, just, I'm thinking of the game, the one that's popping into my mind is Driller, which is just like a random first-person tank game, but it's like kind of important in developing the first-person aspect of video games. And just like no one cares about that. No one will ever go back and play that. It's so different from movies. If the Twilight Zone from 1988 was a movie, there would be like some small cult group of people who would be like, yeah, I'll throw that on for an hour and a half and talk about people with the Twilight Zone. But there's no one who's like, I'm going to figure out an interactive fiction text adventure for 10 hours to talk about it online. There's so much more effort you have to put in to experience an obscure old video game compared to an obscure old record or an obscure old movie, which just completely leads to stuff like this getting forgotten and pushed to the wayside. It's like a sad part of history, but that's what's going to happen with most video games, realistically.
Probably. I mean, yeah, because, as you said, the time commitment is just so much more significant.
Yeah. That's Twilight Zone. I don't know. Probably next time it comes up, throw $100 bid on it, see what happens.
I agree. I hope to own one soon, Tyler. I hope to just like blow all of my money on these weird Halloween games because as the world's greatest collector of Halloween horror and spooky games, I'm going to keep reinforcing. If you just say things now, Tyler, they become true.
This is how investing in video games work. You just like keep saying over and over, like, oh, I really think Texas Chainsaw Massacre is probably the best Halloween game you could possibly own.
Yeah. I mean, I think I'm just going to keep saying it and let someone challenge me. Prove I'm wrong. I've shown my creds like for years on this podcast and every Halloween on Instagram. Look, I've got a resume. You got to come at me. That's it. If you want to take the crown from the king of Halloween, you're going to have to pry it from my fucking head. Just saying.
I know you've gone hard on consoles. I'm so excited because I know you've gone hard on PC too, but there's so much more to go into with PC. I want to see your collection in 5 years.
Just wait. In 5 years, I'm just going to, the episode, so you want to collect Halloween number 9 is going to be like, all right, so I got a bunch of hidden object games here that I really want to talk about because that's all that's left.
This is a ZX Spectrum clone game that only came out in the Soviet Union.
Yeah. Hey, this one's on a BBC Micro. Hey, have you ever heard of Frankenstein Jr. JNR? Look, there are so many dumb games I could tell. Hey, you want to talk about Go-Go the Ghost? It's a Firebird game. You interested?
Ooh, a Firebird game. A semi-big publisher.
Yeah. Yeah, it's a Commodore 64 game. It's a cassette game. It's got a cute little ghost on it. Real dumb.
They released games in slightly bigger jewel cases than a standard cassette. Ooh.
Yeah, they did, but they also have just cassette games. Hey, you want me to tell you about, I don't know, the combo pack of It's Only Rock and Roll and the Tomb of Dracula? Hey, that's interesting, right?
Guys,
right?
I don't know what's going on. Johnny is going off just getting excited about games that no one has ever heard of.
Come on. It's a K-Tel double-sider for the Spectrum. 48K, by the way, if you were curious about the specs, that you could play the Tomb of Dracula.
What's
Don't
the
buy
Tomb of
this.
Dracula, Johnny?
I'm not going to tell you.
Okay,
You're
I'm
gonna
sure.
have
Just
to-
keep it a secret, just in case we want to bring it up later, right?
Yeah, well, I don't want to talk too much about these ZX Spectrum games right now, okay? I don't want to, because we're going to, that, like I said, So You Want to Collect 9 is going to be hidden object games. So You Want to Collect Halloween games number 8 is just going to be all ZX Spectrum games and obscure Commodore 64 stuff. You think I'm lying, but you just wait.
I don't want to
just wait.
Make you disappointed in how we're titling the episodes now. I'm trying to put more clickbait titles on the episodes. This is probably not going to be called So You Want to Collect Halloween Game 6. It's going to be called some stupid clickbait nonsense.
Okay, don't worry. I'll change it to So You Want to Collect Halloween 6.
Okay, all right.
You can put it in parentheses at the end. Anyways. And by the way, I made a whole playlist for people on SoundCloud for the Halloween stuff if they want it. Anyways, do you want me to talk about my real game?
Absolutely.
I got another one. How many games you got left? I got 2.
Got 2.
Okay. Excellent. All right. Tyler, do you love Lovecraft?
Sure. Are we talking about Dredge? Oh yeah, the game looks so cool.
I don't know what Dredge is.
Okay.
Just kidding.
It's the fishing game.
It's
a Lovecraftian fishing game.
I know. I do know about Dredge because it was released on the Switch. Can you believe that shit? They put it on the Switch. It's new. It was nominated in the Horror Game Show Awards, which ran for the first time this year.
Horror Game Show Awards? Johnny, you were just making things up.
I am not. I did not show. I think it was the Horror Video Game Awards.
Okay.
That's a real thing.
Still sounds like you're making things up. I'm pretty sure the only valid source for video game criticism is X-Play with Morgan Webb and Adam
Sessler.
I don't remember the names. Yeah.
Adam Sessler and Morgan Webb. Yeah.
Here you go.
Yeah, who was the girl before Morgan Webb, though? Or was it always Morgan Webb?
I have no idea.
I don't remember. It's been too long. Anyways, Tyler, I want to bring you back to a time, the 90s. Do you remember the 90s?
No way. Are we talking about a point-and-click adventure game from the 90s?
I wanted to switch it up and not talk about a point-and-click adventure from the 90s.
Yeah.
But it is from 1993, and it is an adventure game.
Okay.
Okay, so this game is called Shadow of the Comet, but it was renamed to Call of Cthulhu Shadow of the Comet. It was always a Lovecraftian game, but I think in the second print, they added the Call of Cthulhu, I think to maybe drum up more attention and like let people know this is a Cthulhu game, so like buy it.
Yeah, so people are like, oh, Shadow of the Comet, what is that, like some space game? Whatever.
Yeah. But, the Comet, like comets of space horror, has always been tied to Lovecraft. I think hardcore fans would have got there, but basic fans would not have. It was made by M4 Games. Do you know M4 Games? They are pretty popular. If you don't know, they've kind of got that.
Can you pronounce that again for me, please?
M4 Games, right? Am I wrong?
Infogrames. I got this wrong as a kid too, but as an adult,
Infogrames?
It is Infogrames. It must be a word based on something from another language, but yeah.
Oh my God.
It is not games. It is Grames.
They're a French developer and publisher.
It means
they've got
they've
got like the rainbow anteater on their thing or aardvark, right?
Sure. Yeah.
Really? My whole life, I've been mispronouncing this.
I think a lot of people.
There is an R. Oh my God. I always thought I just took that R and put it in a place that made more sense for my brain. Wow. Holy shit. Tyler, do you know how long I've been saying this wrong?
I mean, I think a lot of people have. This is probably out of all the things we're talking about, that people are like, all right, weird horror PC games. Like, they're going to be like, whoa, Infogrames? Really? I've been calling it Infogames.
Yeah. Holy shit. All right. You're right. Infogrames. I don't even want to say it correctly. Infogrames. Anyways, Tyler, let me just stop talking about that because it doesn't really matter. They just pushed this game out in 1993. What can I say about it except it's an adventure game? that is based on elements of Dunwich Horror and Shadow over Innsmouth. They also made a follow-up to this game called Prisoner of Ice, which is still in the Cthulhu universe, but doesn't actually follow the events of this game. At least this isn't point and click. We did something different. We got off point and click.
So I think that's a weird part about Shadow of the Comet, because it's 1993, the year of Monkey Island. Everyone loves Monkey Island. It looks exactly like a point and click adventure game, but it's entirely keyboard controlled. This is like the Linux nerd programmer point and click adventure game, because just keyboard controls is clearly not the best interface for a graphic adventure game. It is not like a type your actions in. You have to use like keyboard controls and like interact with objects. You just don't have a mouse to click what you want to interact with, which is bad. I feel like there's a lot of archaic things in adventure games, which is why people don't appreciate it as a genre, even the good ones.
Well, and it's funny because it was criticized for its lack of mouse support.
No shit.
The controls, the controls are quoted as being called painful. While it has nice graphics, it didn't do anything to advance the genre. But people do in general. They kind of like this game, but the controls were just... I think if this would have been a point-and-click adventure, Tyler, it would have done 100 times better.
Probably. I know that the developer is out there like, no, you guys don't understand. My control scheme with just the keyboard is so much more efficient. You don't have to move your hand between the keyboard and the mouse. There's efficiency gains in my control scheme. And everyone's just like, what? Let me click shit. What's wrong with you?
Yeah. I mean, this takes place in like typical like Cthulhu-esque fashion. Like, guy heard about this event that happened 100 years ago, then tries to solve the game is taking place in 1910. He hears about this thing that happened in 1834. By reading these papers, he studies it and finds out what's going on and, links it to the mysterious events of 1910. Anyways, yeah, it's typical Cthulhu stuff. It's got some different boxes, though. That's kind of what I wanted to talk about. One, because of the name change. I thought that was interesting. Original boxes, just called Shadow of the Comet, can go for up to $500. But there are boxes
$500 for this game? Really?
Can be. Like some of them. I mean, I've also seen it go for like $250. Depends if you're trying, like what kind of condition you're trying to buy. The $500 one was really nice. There are regular games, just like the second print, which has the listed Shadow of the Comet, or Call of Cthulhu Shadow of the Comet. You can get that one for about $75 to $100. It's still kind of expensive for what this game is. The art on the original box is different too. It's not like they just kept the same box art. They kind of changed the box art too, but it's all the box arts are similar, but there's slight changes to it. And like some of them are redrawn, but still kind of drawing the same thing. There's also the budget box, and you don't want that one. You can get that for like $50. And other countries also got minor box variations, different colors. I mean, I feel like this is really typical of PC games where you just have like tons of tiny variations on PC games. And this is one of them where there's enough of this game out there that you can see the box variants if you do an eBay search.
Are you sure that the non-Call of Cthulhu Shadow of the Comet, that's like an American release of the game?
Yeah. There's two boxes. If you're seeing like the one that's like full art in black, that's like the French release.
Yeah, I see there's a PAL release because it has the 5 languages in the back, but then I found another one that's just English on the back. So, All right. Well, this game's expensive, so I'm never going to buy it.
Yeah. So, go check it out. I mean, watch a video on it. This is not a game you need to buy. It's definitely not a game I recommend anyone play. This is not a game for playing.
I would say there's some poor adventure gamer out there who's listening to us who's like, no, Shadow of the Comet, it's a classic. But you know what? No one there. We don't have adventure gamers listening to this podcast, so whatever. That's why we did a whole episode on point and click adventure games.
Yep, this one, right?
This one.
Yeah, this one. Anyways, be sure to look for your regions on this one. That's like there are so many different regional boxes for this, so just be careful and make sure you're getting the one you want. Or if you just want cool art, just find the one that you think looks the coolest. And typically, I don't think it's the English version. I think that's the worst box. But I think it looks more classically D&D, the American box. So you decide.
It looks a little like one of those SSI gold box games. So it does look a little D&D.
Yeah, agree. Okay.
John,
what do you got for me?
We have arrived at the pick of the episode. I teased it earlier. I want to talk about Realms of the Haunting. It is an adventure game from the early 90s for PC. I think this is actually mid-90s. This game is crazy. This is something that could only exist in the 90s before, like, every game was an Unreal game and a Unity game and whatever. And we had all these engines, and we have an idea. We first-person shooting games, they look like this. They feel like this. Everything feels the same because this is just the best interface. The 90s are like, no! Doom? Quake? I don't think you guys figured it out. We're going to try something totally different. Realms of the Haunting is a first-person adventure, FPS, stealth, environmental puzzle FMV game. I don't even know what to compare it to because it's so unique. It is such a blend of different genres. I'd almost think of Daggerfall or Ultima Underworld, where you have a 3D perspective, but you still have like the mouse on screen to point and click at stuff. So when you think of a game like Daggerfall, like you have to click and drag your mouse to do sword attacks, and it seems a little like that because it's kind of the adventure game interface where you move the mouse around, but then there's also like real-time combat with melee and guns. It is so weird, and it's a freaking FMV horror game. There's no game like this. I've never seen a game like this. Like almost the closest parallel I could think of is Elder Scrolls, but that's a terrible parallel. Because there's adventure elements, like you walk around and click on things in the environment, but then there's also a real-time combat element. But think of that from, 1997. Oh, it's so cool, John. I love this game.
I just want to confirm it's 1996.
1996, whatever. So, I mean, because it's such a mashup, it almost looks like a game that was made by people who don't know how video games work. This is the stuff I expect on Atari in like 1979, where it's like, we're just going to try like a brand new interface for like this totally weird thing. It is based on the Normality engine. Johnny, you know the game Normality starring Corey Feldman?
I didn't. Is that a Halloween game? Should I buy it?
Absolutely isn't. So Normality is a game that no one played from the mid-90s, but it's the experiment that led to Realms of the Haunting. And it looks like kind of the worst experiment before they made it this weird new thing. So Normality, it looks like a 3D version of a 90s point-and-click adventure game, but you're playing it from a first-person perspective. All the same aesthetics, the same kind of like bubbly font that you would expect from a 2D LucasArts game, but the whole game is 3D. It almost looks like an indie game that someone would have made this year as like, oh, what if those old LucasArts adventures were 3D? It's that, but it was actually made during the time of point-and-click adventure games. What a weird game. No one cares about Normality. After Normality, they're like, but what if this was an FMV horror FPS game? And that is where they hit the secret sauce, Johnny. This game is perfect. Like, Johnny, it's what is the 90s? 1996, what was popular? Point-and-click adventure games were popular because it's all we've been talking about. First-person horror shooting games like Doom and Quake and Hex and Heretic, those were certainly popular. Thief, this might be slightly before Thief, but Stealth was popular and FMV was popular. We've already talked about multiple other FMV games, but like this is right in between Sega CD, and this is kind of like almost like the swan song to FMV because this is really when FMV started dying out. But this is the most 90s game of all time. It's got like everything, and it is completely forgotten to history. No one cares about this game whatsoever. It's on Good Old Games, and sometimes you go on Good Old Games and you find a game like Diablo, and it's like, wow, this game's from 1996, but it's still $10 because people just want to play Diablo so much. And then like most games on GOG are like $6 because they're like, you want to play this, you'll probably pay $6 for this. Realms of the Haunting on GOG is $3 because no one cares about this game. It's got great reviews. People love it. It is a cult classic.
It sure is something, Tyler. I just want to give the people some context, like what happened behind the scenes. I suggested this game to Tyler, and he was like, I don't want to talk about boring games that have nothing to talk about. I'm not interested in that, Johnny. I don't want to talk. I was like, okay, I was just throwing suggestions out there. 5 minutes into research later, Tyler's like, this is the best thing I've ever seen. I'm buying it right now. Told you so. I know you, Tyler.
So I'm not buying it right now, Johnny, because there is a limited edition, and I can't decide whether I want the original or the limited edition. So the only difference is that they're both just like regular big box PC games. They've got that kind of cool 80s movie poster style art with all the painted faces on it. But the limited edition has 2 little star badges or star flashes, and it just says like limited edition, additional like FMV content, and it comes with a hint book. And it's like, that doesn't really feel like a limited edition. This just feels like the later Game of the Year version. But I don't know. I guess I kind of want the game with more content, so I guess I'm going to wait to find a limited edition. There is no price difference. This game is like $35. If that. If you find it in a lot, it's even less. So, I don't know. It's something. Just go watch gameplay of this game. It's so crazy. So you're watching a guy explore like a first-person adventure environment with their cursor on the screen. They'll like mouse over a hidden door, and the cursor will like change color. It'll be like, oh, green, this is something you can click. And they click it, and the door opens. And then behind the door is like a demon. And then their cursor turns red, and they just pull out a shotgun and blast the demon in real time. It's like, 1996 was amazing. I don't know. These are the kind of like weird, risky things. Like no one would develop an entire game engine from scratch to make a janky game like this anymore. It is just, the concepts of game design are so much better understood that people are like, all right, like we have mouse look. When you move your mouse, you want the view of your first person to move. That's just how we all understand games to be. But in the mid-90s, people were like, well, what if that's not the best way to do things? And they're wrong, and they made this janky thing, but it's unlike anything you could play today, and that's why I think it's so interesting.
It is pretty cool. The cover is like, it is so 90s. It's the most 90s looking thing I've seen in a long time.
I feel like, so the fact that it is a culmination of everything in the 90s, I feel like maybe has hindered its popularity, because if you are the boring guy who likes all these plotting adventure games, maybe you don't want the real-time action blowing up demons with a shotgun aspect. And if you like Doom and you want to blow up demons with a shotgun, you don't want to explore 3D adventure environments. So you really got to be kind of an all genres kind of gamer to want to play this game.
Well, good news for you, Tyler. I've got a copy of Realms of the Haunting headed to you now.
Are you serious? Oh, you're just trying to buy me stuff?
I did. I already
Is it nice, Johnny? Does it have the inserts?
Tyler.
I'm not going to look a gift horse in the mouth.
You can, it's not a gift horse. You worked for this.
Did you buy it already?
I'll show, no, I haven't bought it. I'm going to show you the link, but I'm going to buy it for you.
So I think, this game, so this is so weird. So you know how games usually come with like a little postcard, like a business return postcard that you could submit your registration in? I don't know who would ever register a video game.
They cut out the UPCs. You got to be careful.
So, but this game comes with an entire envelope. Like it has a business reply envelope with like a piece of paper inside of it. It's just like a bigger thing. I don't know. It's kind of weird.
Yeah, but I think they wanted you to cut out the UPC because I saw 2 boxes with UPCs cut out.
Ah, okay.
So be careful if you're buying this game.
Anyway, Johnny, if you're buying this game for me, I need that envelope.
Okay.
But also don't buy me games. Stop it.
I do what I want. Anyways. And then you can save up and get the limited edition and feel super cool when it happens.
Yeah. I guess I didn't really even explain the plot. It's like the most generic spooky haunted house game. Like you go into a supernatural haunted house and it's like demonic good versus evil stuff. It's very generic horror stuff. But yeah, this game's $3 on GOG. Like I bought this like as we were doing research for the episode. Like tonight I am going to go play Realms of the Haunting because this is the coolest game I've seen in a while.
Ooh. You should play it in such a way where you can stream it so I can watch.
I hate streaming stuff, but all right, I'll consider it. Because
Okay.
what if I want to like go and just like eat dinner in the middle of it, Johnny? Like, I don't know.
It's just me. I don't
Can't be
give a
such
shit.
hassle. Yeah, I know.
You're not streaming to the internet. It's just me.
I'm famous now, Johnny. I'm by default. I don't know if you know. YouTube channel with 14,000 subscribers.
You are very popular and you are very well loved. You know what would be awesome is like if you got any of that audience here. I don't want you to actually bring them here, but if you brought them here, they would find our dynamic so weird because sometimes I abuse you and they would be so fucking offended. They would be so offended at the way I talk to you sometimes because I don't know if you know this about Tyler. He walks on water to a lot of those people. He can do no wrong. He is their guy. You found your people, maybe. I don't know.
No, my people are in the Collector's Quest Discord or listening to the show. You don't have to be in the Discord, but the people into this weird video game collecting stuff, just if you're willing to hear us talk about Realms of the Haunting and hear me get excited about this, then you're my people. So.
Oh, man, you don't understand. Do you know how excited I get when, like, I get so excited when I find a game that changes your mind? Because you're always like, Johnny's boring. He's a little basic. When I find one, I feel I feel a victory. I'm not any of those things, but
I'm really hard to please because I'll get bored if a game is like too basic, like Castlevania. Like I can get excited over Castlevania, but yeah, you get like an obvious pick, and I'm like, that's too obvious. People don't need to hear about it. But then you pick like this weird dojin game, and I'm like, Johnny, that's too obscure. No one cares. So you really have to find like the perfect game to get me excited.
It's an impossible task. But I win sometimes. Sometimes I get some wins. Anyways, Tyler, would you like me to go on to my last game? And then we got peanut butter and jelly time happening with my game.
All right, let's go.
Game. Okay.
Wait, Johnny, can I make a request?
Yeah. Can
you make this like an early to mid 90s, like really representative of the 90s horror thing for the personal computer, perhaps?
Well, I mean, what if can I put it in the mid 90s? As long as it's in the mid 90s.
Yeah, I mean, I have to make just another request. Can it be an adventure game?
Only if you like that. Look, here's what I got for you. Okay. Tell me if this is acceptable. I'm going to put it in 1996 and we're going to go point and click with some FMV.
Okay. Completely unlike everything on this list. I like it.
Yeah, it's complete. Look, maybe you're not excited, but what if I said the names Jeff Goldblum to you?
Oh man, we got Tim Curry and Jeff Goldblum in the same
and
episode.
Isabella Rossellini. And Isabella Rossellini?
I don't know who that is, but okay.
You should know. She's a famous actress. Okay. Look, you're not excited? What if I told you, because this is FMV and it had to have a director, what if I told you Lawrence Gutterman was the director of this game? Do you know who that is?
I absolutely do not.
Well, let me tell you that his credits include The Son of the Mask.
Okay, so this game is garbage, is what you're telling me.
No, this is a game that is going to be well loved, Tyler. People love this franchise. They love it so damn much. My wife is one of the people who loves this franchise. And to some people, this is just Halloween to them. You ready for the big reveal?
I'm ready for the reveal.
Goosebumps.
Whoa!
So there are a couple of big box PC games that are Goosebumps games, and this one kind of got remade later on the Wii and on the PlayStation, and has a very collectible edition that maybe I'll just mention. But this one is Goosebumps Escape from Horrorland. It came out in 1996, like I said, and it is a point-and-click FMV. Jeff Goldblum has a small role as Dracula in it, and Isabella Rossellini plays a character called Lady Cadaver. How awesome is that?
Pretty great. I do want to just point out, Johnny, Escape from Horrorland. Is that the first Horrorland book? That is my favorite Goosebumps book as a kid.
This is considered the sequel to that. So this goes directly after, Tyler.
Okay.
This is that game. Escape from Horrorland happens, and then this game picks up that later that night. So maybe this is very interesting for you.
I just want to say, so in the original Horrorland book, so the book, there's like a family escaping the amusement park that's filled with like goblins or whatever. And like the last scene of the book is one of the goblins like jumps in the back of the family minivan or like is hiding on the bottom of it. So when the family escapes and drives away, they like brought a goblin with them. And when I read this when I was like 7 years old, that distressed me so much because I just wanted them to escape, and they didn't escape. Oh, it was just the worst.
I'm sorry that happened. I'm sorry that happened to you, Tyler. That sounds stressful. I'm going to give you some stats about this game, but not tell you too much about the game itself, because I think these are the funner facts about this. One, Tyler, this is in the vein of the Give Yourself Goosebumps books, that it had multiple endings. It had 2 endings that you could possibly get, depending on the way you played the game. Yep. So this game was a finalist for the Computer Game Developers Conference Awards Best Adaptation of Linear Media. Do you know what it lost to? It was the runner-up. It lost to I Have No Mouth and I Must Scream.
Wow, that's a prestigious game to lose to. This was like right there.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. It got like pretty good reviews. So this is the first game by DreamWorks Interactive. And here's
first ever game by DreamWorks Interactive.
Yeah, that's what it said.
Showstopper, I guess.
Yeah. So, and I'm about to get political because I'm going to say the name Bill Gates. Bill Gates invested $50 million into DreamWorks Interactive at this point, specifically because this game was there. And no, I mean, not specifically for this game, but this was the game they were doing when he invested his $50 million, and that helped get DreamWorks Interactive off the ground. So pretty cool. If you like that, this game sold 130,000 units. It was the 11th best-selling game of 1996.
What?
For PC games.
That's still like, you told me this game's like $200 and like, I imagine it's somewhat obscure. That's a pretty big seller still.
Right. It almost cracked the top 10. It was right there. It was also DreamWorks Interactive's highest selling game at the time, but it's also like its first game. So that's like kind of a bullshit stat that they threw in there. Here's some fun things about it. It's one of those games, Tower, that if you play along, you can get yourself stuck and have to restart. So it's got one of those because it's a mid-90s game. So you got to love that. And there is a big box, Tyler. There are sometimes you see like Microsoft Store stickers on this because obviously the Bill Gates thing involved. You can get those. You can get a regular edition, but don't just buy the jewel case. If you want the jewel case, it's like $20. If you want the big box one, you can get it for about $100. If you want it sealed, it's like $200. So we're in that realm of, I've seen it go as low as like 60, but all the way up to 200. So that's your like spectrum depending on condition and completeness. So if you want Goosebumps, there it is. They did release another big box game shortly after. And then they had, what was that game? Attack of the Mutants. And then there was like the Wendy's. Do you know the Wendy's like game that they had? It was like a free giveaway at Wendy's.
No, absolutely.
Which was just a CD and a sleeve. But then the Horrorland stuff kind of, there's Goosebumps Horrorland, which came out on the PS2 and the Wii. And there's a collectible version of that game, which includes a book. It has a Goosebumps book included with it. So that one gets expensive. In the Wii game, it's kind of like a slipcase, but not quite. And the PlayStation 1, it's just like a piece of paper wrapped around it and it's all sealed together. But those are pretty expensive, hard to find, and collectible because you're not competing just against like video game collectors. You're competing against Goosebumps collectors.
Yeah, I will say, yeah, and you're a Goosebumps collector, Johnny. Do you have this?
Well, my wife is.
Oh,
yeah, of course.
Yeah, this, there's like a certain style of game. I don't know, like these mid-90s FMV kids games. Like, yeah, it's an adventure game, but it's more, it looks like it basically guides you kind of through it. It looks like more FMV than adventuring. And I'm sure there are stupid kids who got stuck. But like one of Ada's childhood games is The Adventures of Pinocchio. And maybe there's one person out there. It's based on the live action movie. Like it's 80% FMV because the kids just want to see stuff happening, and then like 20% clicking around. So that looks a little bit like what this is like. You're here for the DreamWorks amazing costume design of the demons in this game. You're probably not here for the puzzles.
Probably not.
All right. Are we on to the last game, Johnny?
We are. We're pairing these two together because okay. I think these are exactly the same audience.
Was the Goosebumps show, what channel was that on? Was that on Nickelodeon?
I don't think it was on Nickelodeon.
All right. Well, people remember the Goosebumps TV show. Great TV show. I loved that TV show.
Yeah, you can buy it on iTunes if you are interested in buying it. Not you, Tyler, I know, but general people. Except they do this weird thing where they made the cover animated, but you're like, this is a live action TV show. So
that's a big problem, Johnny.
I just thought it was weird because if you like, look, if you try and click on it, you're like, that's weird. Like it has a picture. It looks like a book cover, and then you're like, oh, also. More relevant is there's a new Goosebumps TV series starting on Disney Plus coming out this month in October.
By the time there's going to be so much demand for the 90s Goosebumps game then.
Yeah, buy it quickly because on October 13th, this game is already out. If we're after October 13th, which we probably are, you might already be watching the first season of Goosebumps starring Justin Long.
Just like the Jordan Peele Twilight Zone really bumped the price up of the 1988 Twilight Zone game that no one has ever heard of.
Hey, look, it's expensive and you can't find it. So maybe Jordan Peele did.
I can't prove he didn't.
Yeah, prove it. Anyways, that Goosebumps show ran from like 1995 to 1998. Not that anyone cares. Anyways, tell me about yours.
Johnny, it is hard to pick the most 90s game on this list. But I mean, just based on a gameplay genre perspective, I'm going to have to pick Realms of the Haunting. But it might be Goosebumps or Are You Afraid of the Dark? The Tale of Orfeo's Curse. And I know what you're thinking. Why do I care about a random kid's adventure? This is a children's FMV horror adventure game again. Why do you care about this one?
This is the nostalgia factory. This is like, if you're going to pick a game that has nostalgia, you're going to go with the big properties. You know I love the big properties.
Yeah, if you don't know what Are You Afraid of the Dark is, because you're a Zoomer, it was basically the Nickelodeon version of the Twilight Zone, but for kids. Just a different spooky adventure every a week. And this game it's an awful, awful missed clone. So Goosebumps is made by DreamWorks, and you could tell there was some money and some effort behind it. There's a lot of FMV in the game. Like, you're moving around, you see the kids animated doing stuff, costume design, things like that. This Are You Afraid of the Dark game, it's called an FMV game, but the vast majority of it is still images, so it just looks so cheap. It is just... Like, I don't know if kids are dumb enough to think that it's exciting to see pictures of real people on the computer, but I have to imagine kids would look at this and be like, wow, this is fucking cheap. Because even Myst in 1993 has genuine FMV throughout the game. It's in like a tiny, tiny little box, but there's FMV, and there's so little FMV in this game. But I mean, the interesting part is that it's an Are You Afraid of the Dark thing. And just like all these games, most generic plot in the world, it's like kids who are trapped in a haunted theater and have to escape. But, Johnny, this game is readily available, new old stock, for $40 on eBay. 27 sold from the same seller. You could just go pick up a jewel case. But the jewel case is not the exciting part. This thing came out in a big box, and I can't find a copy of this game that has ever sold.
It's crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, you didn't even believe me when I told you it had a big box.
Yeah, I just was like looking a bit. I'm like, this doesn't have a big box. It's probably just like released at like, you know, the budget bin of Micro Center. And no, this had a big box.
Yeah,
Very
only
obscure.
found that out because it had a manual. There was one jewel case that had a manual and it was too big. And I was like, that had to be in a big box then. And for real, we did find an image of it. It did come in a big box. So that is confirmed.
I'm going to guess that this game is less obscure than the Twilight Zone, only because there are multiple YouTube videos about it. It's probably the nostalgia factor that led to that. I would expect that if this came up for sale, it would probably be between $100 and $200. And you know what? I don't even think that would be too bad of a deal, considering how rare it seems.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
Or you can get the jewel case version for $40 all day, or wait for a deal and get it for $25.
Yeah.
Because that's how common that version is.
If you Google this game, you'll find an IMDb page for it where people have rated it 8.4, which I have to imagine is a genuine critique of the game's quality and not just people saying, I had this game when I was 6 years old. It was so cool. So it's probably one of the best games of all time.
Yeah, you are very cynical. It probably is the best.
I mean, it literally looks like the most boring, awful version of Myst.
True.
Myst. Like, people think Myst is boring. This looks like worse than Myst. Myst is pretty
I can't believe people find Myst is boring. Myst is great. We're together on this.
Yeah, I like Myst. It's a really hard game, though.
Is it?
I think Myst is very hard. As a kid, I didn't even know there were other like realms or whatever they're called. Even as an adult, I find it pretty hard to get to the different areas. It's hard to progress in Myst. I mean, the first thing it does is like, here's all these levers that don't do anything. Good luck, figure it out.
Like I told you, I played that game and didn't know anything about it because I didn't know how to play computer games. And I was playing with my friend April. I was over at her house and she's like, let's play Myst. And like her mom was bringing us down. I have such fond memories of Myst. And we just sat there and jammed Myst for like 4 days straight. Even after we beat it, played it some more. How fun.
Maybe Are You Afraid of the Dark? People call Myst like the classic computer adventure game, but maybe it is Are You Afraid of the Dark? The Tale of Orpheo's Curse. I love that it's titled like one of the TV episodes.
Yeah, it's a great title. And by the way, just because I looked it up because you asked, Goosebumps ran on Fox TV.
Okay. All right. That must be why I saw it, because I was a poor kid who didn't have cable.
Yeah. And if you were in Canada, it was on YTV. Currently available on Netflix, but that's probably going to, like, I don't know what's going to happen with the licensing since that Disney show is coming out. So we'll see if it remains on Netflix.
All right, Johnny, this meeting of the Midnight Society is coming to a close.
Yeah. I was just going to say real quick, Are You Afraid of the Dark? I think you have to watch, I think you have to buy because it's one of those Nickelodeon shows and they always price their stuff expensive.
I have no idea what you're talking about. What are you talking about?
Like if you try and buy like old shows that were on Nickelodeon, they usually try to charge a premium for them on iTunes.
Oh, okay. That's it. I think Johnny, the vast majority of people, like, we're into old video games. Like we have no qualms about going to the internet and downloading Sonic the Hedgehog .md and loading it up in an emulator. I think if you want to watch Are You Afraid of the Dark, you'll probably be fine watching like one episode on YouTube and being like, yeah, I remember Are You Afraid of the Dark. All right.
100% that is how you should do it. All right, Tyler, we did it. We have survived another night of Halloween games.
Is anyone still here with us after listening to us discuss literally 10 FMV games, like only between the years of 1993 and 1996?
We got 13 in there with our side references. Okay. We did it.
All right, yeah.
We did it.
Do we want to go on to a collector's question then, Johnny?
I would love to go to a collector's question.
Johnny Clearvis asks, do you think collectors will care about completeness over quality in the future? All inserts in slightly worse condition versus better quality, but maybe only has the manual and no posters.
Well, I think that's a hard question for one reason. Like, given that specific example, like no poster, not every print came with a poster, but we haven't like really determined which of those prints are. I think condition is still king overall, but I think people who really care are going to wind up buying both to make the most complete, nicest copy. Yep.
I personally care about completeness over condition, but I think I don't see the vibe of things changing at any point in the near future. I think people are going to prize the numeric condition when they grade something over actually having a complete game. This is something that drives me crazy because you see all these graded complete in box games and so many of them are not actually complete. Usually like little inserts, like you have a registration card or something, or you have the baggie or whatever. Like that doesn't count for your grade, so people just don't care. And I just think people won't care in the future. Also because it is really hard to know what inserts actually came with a game. So,
buy sealed games.
Buy sealed games. That's the only answer. Everyone should buy sealed games.
Yep.
Is right. Joe asking the same question here? Joe asks us, would you rather keep the mint condition version of a boring variant or the really cool variant in average to poor condition?
Why am I not keeping both?
Yeah, I don't know. This is... Joe, I don't sell things. This is a terrible question.
Yeah. What have you not, like, you've seen our rooms, you've talked to us, like, of course we're keeping both.
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I honestly might go mint condition boring variant. You say average to poor. Like if you're getting the word poor in there, it's starting to sound closer to something I don't want to own at all. Unless this is something like really special, I'm probably going for mint condition boring variant.
What if it was like Day of the Tentacle and you had like a really nice, not first print, or you could have kind of a banged up obelisk box?
Yeah, like I mean, if I have the obelisk box, that's generally the thing I would want. That's like a showcase of my collection. So it's a triangular box for Day of the Tentacle. Like there are not a lot of PC games that come in a cylindrical triangle box. That's an oxymoron, but
I was like, wow, that is a description. I see where you're going.
But yeah, I wouldn't want that to be beat up because that's something that's going to be on my top shelf. So in that case, I would just get the mint condition regular release of Day of the Tentacle. And I think that'll probably be my answer for a lot of them.
Yeah, but like if you've got to kill your darlings, right? Like let's just say someone handed you the beat up one. So now you own it, right? You own it, but it's kind of like creased at the bottom and you're like, ugh. Or you just have a nice mint boring version, like not like third print, who gives a shit about version of the game. Which one are you keeping? You can only keep one.
I'm probably keeping the mint boring one. I mean, like the cool stuff. Like a good example is that the Zombies Ate My Neighbors SNES variant that Stefan has hyped to the moon. Like that would be a showpiece in your Super Nintendo collection. So yeah, it's rare, but do you want like a 4 out of 10 condition one? Because you're going to be showing that forever. I mean, I wouldn't. I'd rather have the mint regular copy of that.
I mean, if you just told me I could only own one of the two, I would. One's a showcase and one is just who cares. I would keep the obelisk box.
All right. Well, we're different on that question, Johnny. Yep. One more question. Emilio asks, do you remove the batteries from carts if they're for display only?
I'm sorry, what?
I don't know how to answer this question. I guess the answer is no. I saw a thread, I think on Video Game Sage, asking for long-term storage, should you desolder and remove all of your like NES and Super Nintendo batteries?
So these are save batteries specifically that are on the boards of games.
Yes.
And people fear that corrosion, because batteries just, break down over time, that's going to destroy the game. And I think that's a valid concern. Unlike Game Boy games like Pokemon, they go out and get changed all the time. Like if you have a Pokemon game that's running, like a Pokemon Blue or something, chances are someone like replace that battery. Just throwing that out there.
And but I'm not worried about that. I definitely don't remove the batteries in games. I would feel like that is damaging the game for the most part. Like if the game is functional right now and it's not like battery isn't like actively leaking, and I'm not going to open up all my cartridges to see if that's happening. But like I wouldn't want to look at my Final Fantasy 3 and be like, well, there's my Final Fantasy 3 that doesn't have a save battery in it. So no, I definitely don't. Yeah,
I mean, and not just damaging the board, but I think the act of opening carts damages carts to some degree. So I would be very hesitant to do that myself.
I will say I remove the batteries in certain electronics that I'm storing long term. And the one I always bring up is my PSP, because your PSP battery is probably like scary. Like the PSP batteries are not good.
No, I told you I have the Star Wars edition, like the white one with like the Darth Vader helmet on it. And I opened that thing up and it was like a balloon.
Yeah.
Like popped. I was like, God damn it. Yeah. That thing was
if you collect 2000s electronics, you should be really wary of like the lithium ion batteries. And I'm talking like early iPhones, iPads, probably like your Nintendo DS and GBA, definitely your PSP, but like check your lithium ion batteries. You probably want to just throw some of those out. Recycle them responsibly. Definitely don't just throw it in the garbage like everybody does. But yeah, I mean, there's probably a genuine fire hazard at some point in the future.
Yeah, I agree. And like usually those things you can get to without causing damage to the console. Also, if you're talking about like old Game Boys and stuff or Game Gears, things that contain just like AA, AAA or 9 volts or D batteries and C batteries. Yeah, 100%. Take all that shit out. Your Virtual Boy, clean all the batteries out of that thing and don't leave them in there, because that's a real thing that happens in electronics.
That doesn't even take that long. Yeah, like pinball machines generally take AA batteries, and like you change them every year because they will just corrode and like the corrosion will start creeping onto the board. So yeah, you just want to change your pinball batteries literally every year.
Good tip. Yeah. So that kind of stuff. I'm not desoldering, but like stuff that's like easy change, quick fixes, like 100%. You should just be managing that situation.
That's it, Johnny.
We did it.
You didn't talk about what we're buying and playing.
Oh, well, might as well just talk about that. Let's talk about
I don't have much. I've been buying some Super Mario Brothers cards, hunting variants, and I haven't found all the variants yet, Johnny. So I'm still looking. That's really all I'm buying.
Okay, but what did you play?
Nothing. I'm about to go play the games whose name I can't even remember. Realms of the Haunting. That's what I'm about to play.
Oh, I'm so excited that you're going to go play that. I am excited you were going to play that, Tyler.
Yeah.
That's it. So you didn't play any of your weird games?
I don't think so. I've been busy. Been making some YouTube videos.
Okay. Well, I got a bunch of games that I didn't even talk about that I thought we would talk about this episode. So I'm like, yeah, I'm going to buy that because I want to talk about this episode, but they haven't even arrived yet, Tyler. So I will tell you the one thing I did get that came. I got a manual for Super Copa.
Whoa! What are the chances you find a loose manual for Super Copa?
Pretty low. Hey, thanks, Jonebone7 on eBay if you were looking for him, or just Jonebone on Instagram. He also sent me a little thank you note. So, hey, thank you for putting that out there. And thank you to all the people who didn't like drive this into, like, I thought that was going to be a $200 manual at least. And it was like $115 or something. And very happy to pay that price to get it. My Tech Toys version, or my Playtronic version, I should say, of Super Copa is complete. My US copy was not. Now it is. So I did it.
I'm so proud of you. Our friend Joe the Fleo on Video Game Sage, he recently did an objective rarity analysis of games that were available on eBay for the past 90 days of Nintendo games, NES games. And you look at the top and it's like number 2 is like Pro Sport Hockey or something. It like, that's a game people know is obviously rare, but you see that and it's like, it's rarer than Flintstones 2. It's rarer than Little Samson. People don't consider it the rarity level that it genuinely is. And he's doing it now for the Super Nintendo, and like Super Copa is going to be up there. That's like a top 5 Super Nintendo game when it comes to how many are actually available, I think.
Ugh, I don't want him to do it. I don't want him to lift that stone on Super Nintendo. I'm not done yet. I'm done with the set, but I need manuals. People
don't pay attention to, like, he does like pretty good research, like objective like stuff, like, and people just like don't do this. No one goes through every Nintendo game, finds out the literal numbers, and then publishes the data. Because if you do that, like I've done this in the past, like when I've collected full sets, I want to find like the literal rarest games so I could target those. But I don't publish my data because those are like the games I'm going after. So I think it's cool that he's doing this. And it's only going to be a snapshot in time. It's only going to be like, here's what we got in October 2023. But it'll still be interesting data, I think.
No, I think it's really good. And if you look at it, you can also kind of calculate demand by looking at the numbers he's put out. And that's like one of the things I talked to him about is like, you can kind of look at a demand chart. The demand for Super Mario Brothers 2 is unreal, by the way, if you didn't notice, like what a weird outlier that game is. Just if you consider how many were bought, sold, and are actually available, and like what the ratio looks like there, you can start to look at demand. So
I bet everybody buys their NES and it already has a Mario Duck Hunt cart, so they don't need Super Mario Brothers usually. And then they probably buy it with Super Mario Brothers 3. So I think a lot of people need the individual copies of Mario 2. That would be my guess.
Probably, but I mean, it's also a Mario game, so of course it's in demand. Like, of course. But anyways, it's a really good list. I love that he puts it out because, as people who are fond of sharing information, I'm glad more people are doing it. Everything doesn't need to be a secret. Joe.
I think we got an episode. One of our episode recommendations was like collectors keeping secrets in secret spreadsheets, and I'm like, maybe that's a good episode. I don't know. But it definitely does happen. Like, there is a competitive aspect to collecting where you don't say everything that you're looking for or everything that you know, because sometimes there's something that you really want and you can't have. If one other person is looking for it, they might find it before you.
Well, you also have the phenomenon which happens, and I've seen this, when people are like, I'm really looking for this, and then someone will go out and find it and then like want to upcharge them double what they got it for. It's not like, hey, let me just help you out because I know where one is. It's like, here, how much can I make you pay for this?
Collecting is the worst. Don't collect. What are you guys doing?
Look, that doesn't always happen. I've had plenty of people who've just come to me and been like, hey, I know you're looking for this thing and I found a really cheap copy and I just want to help you out. So there's lots of great people out there too. Joe's a great person. He loves to help. But there are some people, and I would say the minority, but you will get that, which is why sometimes people hoard information. I don't really believe in hoarding information, but I definitely don't always publish. If I learn about a new variant immediately, a lot of times will wait until I secure the one I'm looking for or until I decide I don't really care. I'm just going to throw it out there. But yeah, it happens. Some people will never tell anybody anything because information is power.
But we're here on the Collector's Quest, Johnny, and we're here to tell you about Realms of the Haunting for PC.
Woo! Very excited.
I'm going to be so sad if this game sucks, but it looks so awesome. I don't know how it could possibly suck.
I cannot wait for your review. I cannot wait for your review of this game. I hope Ada plays it with you. I want her to watch. I want her to watch. Tell her.
If Ada's there, we're just going to be playing Diablo 4 instead.
Oh, that's
because we're not done with that still.
Man,
it is getting to the point where Diablo is feeling like work. Like there is Baldur's Gate 3. It's like this shining, it's like Christ the Redeemer in Brazil. It's like this huge beacon on a hill, and then in between me and that is the mountain I got to climb to get there, and that mountain is Diablo 4.
It's funny you put it that way because I'm also waiting to get Baldur's Gate. It's a game I put on my, like, it was easy for me to put it on my birthday list, like as a thing someone can go get me since I don't have time for it yet. But Diablo is like the thing holding me back from playing other games. Like I haven't played Tears of the Kingdom yet. I haven't finished my Star Wars game yet because it's been Diablo time. And it's like,
Diablo is ruining lives. Neither of us have played Tears of the Kingdom. I played like 5 or 10 hours of Tears of the Kingdom, probably largely because of Diablo. This bullshit, Johnny. Don't buy Diablo 4.
Save your life.
Ruin your life. But if you start playing Baldur's Gate 3, you have to let me know, because that means I will like drop everything just to play at the same time as you.
Okay. Deal.
All right.
Okay, so that's it. We did it. We did the show. Tyler, do you want to tell the people where they can find you? That's a good joke.
It's so funny how you bring it up every episode. It'll never stop being a good joke, Johnny. You can't wear it out.
I can't wear it out. That's Default Jen. Default Jen. Got him.
Man.
Get it.
Johnny, I'm on the Discord. I am on videogamesage.com. I talk about weird old Nintendo games with a bunch of old-timey collectors who still use an online forum. And those are really the places to get me.
Yeah.
Come find me.
If you know people who like Calliope music, Tyler's definitely going to be friends with them. You can find him with all those other old people. Anyways, what?
Johnny just says these weird things.
It's a hallmark. You can find me on Instagram. I'm trying to post dumb video reels. Hopefully, what I'm hoping has happened is that we're in the middle of October, and then I've been doing Halloween reels for you guys, showing you Halloween games in video and giving you some basic collector's information. So basically, just an episode of Collector's Quest, but over 31 days in like minute chunks where I show you various games. Maybe already talked about on the show, maybe already shown on previous things, but now it's me holding them up and giving you video content. Hooray! Because
I love video content, Johnny.
No, you don't. And like also, it feels a little weird because you know me. I was always like, I don't show my face on video because no one wants to look at my face. But it turns out if you don't show your face, no one wants to watch what you're talking about because they need to look into your baby blues or browns or greens or hazel or whatever your eye color is and really see you. They need to really see you, I think.
Yes. People do like looking at people. That's why they like the YouTube face. It's like when they just like people sitting at a desk talking into a camera. Johnny, I like being behind the camera. I don't want people looking at my face. Get out of here.
You know what I do, Tyler? because what I should do is like take a picture of myself holding the game and like make that the cover photo. Instead, I pick a moment where I've made an awkward face in the video while I'm talking and then use that as the screen grab. That's my gimmick. You'll never know because you don't see Instagram anymore.
I'm sorry.
No,
Come to Matrix, Johnny. You're already on there. You're great.
I'm already on there.
That's where all the people are hanging out. They're hanging out on the Matrix network.
No, they are not. Anyways, that's it for the show, guys. Thanks for listening. Hope you love yourself some FMV 1990s esoteric bullshit Halloween stuff, because that's what we did. All right, that's it. Bye!